Hey, everybody, I'm Travis Saxton, Executive Vice President of Enterprise Solutions at T360. I am here with an amazing crew, casting crew from across the industry with wildly different products and services too, which will be fun to talk about. I've got on my screen from my left, we've got List Assist AI. And Brittany, you're coming to us live from New Zealand or Australia? Which one is it?
New Zealand, Auckland, New
New
Zealand,
Zealand.
yes.
All right, great. Zane from rechat, a great client and friend, longtime friend of T360. We've got Axero, Adam. Thank you for joining us. Agent Legend and Steve, thank you for being here as well. And the Fearsome G from Ylopo. All great companies that have strong footings in the space and are rooted in AI. They've all got a major focus in AI. So we're going to get to that in just a moment. But three of the people on this call are seasoned veterans and supporters, awesome supporters of T360. And I've got two rookies that I got to beat up a little bit about coming to the T3 Tech Summit. And hopefully the rest is history because I know Zane's been a couple of years in a row. G's been a couple of years in a row, and so is Adam, which is great to see. So the T3 Tech Summit is the common thread here that we'll be pulling on as a group. And we started this event 3 years ago. We wanted to create an event that was unlike any other. I said, basically, we're going to rip the events apart from the ground up. And this year, we've even taken it a step further. So Adam, Zane, and G, if you recall, the last 2 years, we had two separate rooms. One was kind of all tech, and one was the main stage, the presentations and stuff like that. This year, everything is combined into one massive space. So it's going to be fun. There's going to be energy, lots of technology on display. So that's going to be exciting for us. It's September 29th to October 1st in New Orleans. We're 10 days away from being out there. Some of us might come in a day early too. The excitement is palpable around this. Our list is growing like crazy. I'm very happy. Year one, we went from about 330 attendees. We had to deal with Halloween. It was kind of COVID's last stand. Year two, we went north of 500. And now this year, we're hoping to hit into the 600 to 700 range. So we are continually growing and adding every day now. It's like 15 to 20 people are coming in. It's pretty awesome. So with that being said, for the seasoned veterans, why don't we start with Zane? And Zane, you've worn two hats at this event now, or you will be wearing two hats, I should say. Talk to us a little bit about what you're most excited about gleaning from the T3 Tech Summit in 2024.
Sure. It's first of all, it's one of my favorite events of the year for a couple of reasons. One, just the group of people that get together because it's focused on tech and innovation. It's easier to find conversations that are interesting or engaging or stimulating, as opposed to some of the other ones, which are also great, but have a wider breadth in terms of what the topics are that they're covering. So just the group of attendees is one of the things I'm always most excited about. And also the setup of the show of the conference. The fact that this year you're having these immersive experience rooms, it really takes away from this whole sort of like wandering feeling that you have when you're walking at some of these conferences. It gives the person who's walking through them an idea of what they're walking into, and it allows them to be in a better state of mind when it comes to talking to the folks within those rooms. So the way it's set up, the attendees, of course, the content is always top notch. And the conversations that are had after the day's events at the hotel bar or at dinners, those are always really my favorite parts of the T3 Tech Summit.
Very nice. Now, G, let's hop over to you. You guys set the stage last year. Howard came on, gave an awesome keynote about AI, and obviously it was very timely and topical. Now we're going deeper this year. What are you most excited about seeing at the 2024 Tech Summit?
Yeah, I think last year was all about the promise of AI and what it could become. And this year, I'm really excited to see the fruition of that into applications, right? And certainly we've been working very hard at that, of taking ideas into reality. And that's what I'm excited to kind of share with the community. But I'm equally as excited to see what everyone else has been up to. I think what's exceptional about T3 is just the sophistication of conversation that I'm able to have with the audience. Everyone there is there for tech, and so they speak the same language, and that depth of conversation we're having is significantly higher than any other conference that I attend in the industry. And what I find, also really exceptional is that for all of us, founders, executives, et cetera, going to this conference, like we're actually there working the booths, right? And
right.
I like the first T3, I was like walking through the experience room. I had a question about a product, and I walk up and I'm like, well, I have these questions, and it's like, oh, let me get back to you on that, oh, let me have my engineer come back to you. It's like, no, I'm the CTO of the company. Yeah, I can answer these questions for you, right? And that just doesn't happen. I'm not at the booth at another, NAR conference, right? But I am there because I know the depth of the conversations we're going to have and the quality of relationships we're going to create, right? And I think that is a credit to all of you guys for making it worth our while, frankly, to be there and to take that role on because of how valuable the conversations are.
Gee, thank you for bringing that up, because nobody has actually pulled on that one. We talk about the collision effect and the quality of the attendees, but that is a fact that we want the highest quality people to answer the questions, to be in these innovative conversations. And even pulling on some not in your immersive experience, but like Lone Wolf last year had their senior executives, the CEO of the company, inside of their room doing their new launch. And those are the types of things we love. And we are spending a lot of time and energy to do that. And speaking of founders and amazing leaders, Adam, we've been working together for about 2.5 years now, something like that. And on some mutual clients, many of which will come there. We have a mutual client that's 12 brokerages, big holding company. And that's been your kind of dipping your toes into real estate. And now you've been in a lot of other conversations that your product fits really nicely in. So now you're going into year 2. What are you excited about at the Tech Summit?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably, what I think is so great about the event is the mix of customers of Axero, like you said, and also people who have never heard of us or are just learning about us for the first time. I mean, the perfect conversations that happen at an event like this are where a customer of Axero's is talking to someone who doesn't know about us, about what they're able to do on our platform, what they're achieving. And because they've got that shared industry, shared experiences, speak the same language, they oftentimes talk about things far better than we could ever talk about what Axero can do for folks in the industry. And so in many ways, we're a vendor, we'll be there, we'll be presenting, but we're also a participant, and just hearing how different folks talk to each other about the technologies that we provide, that others provide, I think is just a really exciting opportunity for us.
Nice. Now, Steve, we got some rookies. And so your first time, you've been around T360 as an insider, and so has Brittany as well. You've heard a lot of buzz around this. What are you most excited about?
I think I got to echo a little bit of G and I think Adam in terms of meeting our customers. I think first and foremost, my partners and I actually invested in Agent Legend not too long ago. And so an opportunity for us to finally put faces to names. We've been working in a bubble remotely since all of that happened. And then I would say the validation of all of the sweat that we've put into building what we're going to be showcasing at the show and highlighting that launch is something that we're excited for. The folks that are at the C-suite, that we built it to solve problems, but to have them poke holes in it, to work alongside all the great platforms that are going to be there as well, to just make those strong connections and continue to make the product and solutions solve the problems of those that are going to be in attendance is certainly what I'm most excited for.
Nice. And Brittany, to take us home, you guys have a unique story. Last year, one of your investors and partners, Gary Ashton, gave a presentation for the first time on anybody seeing List Assist in the United States. For the most part, there's maybe a couple other conversations you had been having. And so because of travel challenges and stuff, Gary, one of the more influential leaders in the space, presented List Assist on stage, which was pretty cool to see a client presenting on your behalf. Now, this year, you actually are both coming over, you and Chris, and you will be in the pitch battle again for the second year in a row. So we're going to give you your fair share, your due, because as good as Gary was, it just doesn't always do you a great service. So take us through now. This is your second year technically at the event, but your first year attending. So what are you most excited about?
Yes, for sure. No, we're very grateful for Gary and what he did for us last year. I think we're actually excited to just be part of the event as well and to actually be able to be there. I think for us with launching our home search product, and everyone that's going to be there are innovators. So echoing what G and Adam said before as well, just being able to interact with everyone there, getting their feedback on the product, I think is going to be really important as well, and being able to collaborate. We really want to get to the bottom of what is important to drive better processes and better search across the board for prop tech. So that's what we're really excited to get into, and those deep conversations as well. I think it's going to be invaluable having those and that immersive experience, getting feedback on a new product as well.
And you guys have had a lot of innovation in the last year, and that's why I actually made the conscious decision to put you and one other company who have changed a lot in a year. Amazing new launches here. So let's go now to what are we going to learn? What's the audience going to learn when they step foot into your immersive experience? Brittany, why don't you take us through what they're going to walk out of there with? What are some of the big takeaways?
Absolutely. So we really want to showcase our home search product. That's our first priority. So it's the natural language search bar. So it's going to be a really immersive experience into how people can now search for homes. It's no longer drop downs. It's no longer filters and tick boxes. It's actually typing what you think. It's searching how you think. I want a 3-bedroom house with blue walls, a nice view, a big backyard, a spare room for my mother-in-law, whatever it is the person's searching for. Those are the results that we're going to be presenting, and we really want to be able to showcase that. We're going to be launching with a big client really soon, and we want to really make people feel comfortable that this is the new way to search. A lot people are really into AI, obviously, but for some people, AI can still be scary. The results can be scary, so we really want to make people comfortable with that and show great results. House matches that actually match what you're looking for, and you get the results in an instant. We're really excited about it.
Awesome. And Steve, going back to you, as you guys have invested heavily in this area, what's the person going to take away as they leave your immersive experience from Agent Legend?
Yeah, it's viewing the database as an asset. That's the product that we have, is the teams, the brokerages that we work with. It's how do you leverage the data that you're collecting every single day to inform the decisions that you're making, not just across lead engagement, but your marketing and operations teams. And it all is rooted in all the great information that you're collecting from lead activity, all the way through your CRM that's coming through there. So leveraging that information, creating something that's actually valuable, that they can just easily create predictable revenue for their enterprises moving forward. And then the other thing is just I think just the approachability of AI, of how do you make it simple and intuitive enough so that those that aren't as tech savvy can just instantly understand the power of what every one of our experiences is going to provide to them. So we're incredibly excited to showcase that when we're out in New Orleans.
That's awesome. I think that's a common thread that Derek on our team, who's our resident AI guru, he's talking a lot about too, is the approachability of AI and how it can be scary for a lot of these brokerages that might not have their data kind of collected. They might not even have strategies around this. It's like, how do you get started? That's a tough one. Adam, I'm curious to hear your side of the equation now, because knowing your product and platform, you have invested a lot in AI too, but how are those two things going to interact and weave together?
Yeah, so we're traditionally an intranet software platform. So we build portals for employees or agents to be able to log in and access the information, the tools, the applications, the resources they need to be effective in their roles. Traditionally, what that has typically meant is been web pages and search bars to help people find the information they need. But intranets have also become a knowledge base where the one of the best single sources of truth out there for where to store the knowledge that an organization has, the processes, the policies, things like that. And so what we've done is we've overlaid AI chatbot on top of our powerful search index and given users and agents a way to chat in and quickly interact with the chatbot much more conversationally and find the information they need, whether it's finding folks in their area, preferred vendors to work with, or figuring out how to get business cards made or how to get some marketing materials made. Whatever an agent needs, we want them to be able to come to a single place and accomplish it all as easy as possible, because we know these folks are on the move a lot, don't have a lot of time for figuring out new technologies, and want something that's easy to work with. And so that's where we're seeing the kind of our core platform that we've been working on for a long time come together with the AI functionality that we've added in over the last year or so.
Awesome. Zane, you guys are taking a little different tact or approach, not necessarily with AI, but with the product story that you guys have, focusing in on value, experience management. You want to become that hub for the experience with the consumer, the agent, the brokerage, the triad there. Talk us to us a little bit about how you guys are using AI in rechat and how you've invested pretty significantly in this area.
Sure. Yeah, I think first of all, rechat, we're built on some really great tech to include AI. The thing we focus on most is the agent and client experience. That's the number one problem that we aim to solve. How do we defragment that experience with the agent and the client? So one of the ways that we found most useful to incorporate AI into that is to kind of take it away from this like storied, what can it, what could it do, and really implement it practically and showcase what it actually can do when you're working within the platform to create an elevated experience for your clients. And so what that means is, how can you leverage AI within the rechat platform to do things like create, beautiful pieces of marketing at scale to send to your entire sphere? How can you leverage Lucy, who is our AI co-pilot, to be able to communicate and send meaningful data and communications to your sphere at scale, all without compromising on the level of experience that you're providing to your clients? And so that's one of the things we're really excited to be able to showcase is how can you create and output beautiful things, meaningful things, engaging things at scale with Lucy, who happens to be the name of, like I said, our AI co-pilot. And so that's something we're really looking forward to being able to show.
Nice. We got some co-pilot AI names rolling around here. And I think, G, going to you to take us home. You've been in AI machine learning for quite some time with Raya. I think I got that right. Apologize if I didn't. So as an OG in the AI space, you guys have tripled down, not even doubled down, tripled down in AI, from lead generation, lead nurture, lead conversion, all the way even to some culture stuff that you're working on with some of our team members. Tell us about what you're excited about and the takeaways that the audience is going to learn from Ylopo.
Yeah, and I'll say I'm wearing split hats. I will literally have a split hat at the conference, since we're exhibiting both Ylopo and our sister company Maverick at the conference. For us on the Ylopo side and really on the Maverick side, bottom line is efficiency for teams and brokerages, right? And when we look at the landscape, I'd say there's 3 areas of massive efficiency we can bring to the table where people are, using human labor that could be replaced by AI. And the first is prospecting. Any team that has a big team of ISAs, has a big call center. We all know the limits of, how much capacity those, kind of teams can have and how difficult it is to scale. Well, by next month, on the Ylopo call center side, as an example, we're going to be calling 1.5 to 3 million consumers in 1 month for the first time using AI calling. That's insane, right? And what we're finding is, hey, we can work your new leads as an example of all your new opportunities coming in. That's great. But what about the hundreds of thousands to million leads that have come in over the last 10 years? There's no human labor force in the world that is able to efficiently prospect your entire database, right? And we can now do that with AI calling and texting. We're finding that for every 100 old leads, these are 5-year, 7-year-old leads that have TCPA compliance, we can get 2 of them live transfer to your agents, right? Do that math with 1 million leads. How creative that is, right? And so last year, we kind of talked a lot about these technologies, very nascent, and this year is the year of scale, right? Being able to take that to market. So I'm really excited to kind of share those details. And on the other side is with Maverick is about making your team operations more efficient, right? Everyone's looking for efficiencies in their team. And we call Maverick our sales manager in a box because it simplifies the job of the sales manager significantly. And what we found that's very interesting is we released something called the Maverick Sales Coach. And with the Maverick Sales Coach, an agent is actually able to call into an AI who is playing a consumer role and have a role-playing conversation with the AI and get graded on that conversation, right? Get thrown objections at you. Are you talking about buyer agreements? This is something we've worked with your team a lot on, right? And what we found is that after only 30 days of using AI Sales Coach, we increased sales, skills by about 25%, right? And what's interesting is we're in the world of prospecting on the Ylopo side. I generate a lead for you. It's going to close in 13 months, right? I increase your sales team skills by 25%. You'd close 25% more deals next month, right? And so, in many ways, what we're finding is that by driving business efficiency on the Maverick side, our clients can see greater ROI immediately on their investments in the other tech stacks that they have, right? And it's taking AI, weaponizing it and doing it at scale. That's, really, really interesting for us. So it's hopefully we're paying off a lot of the promises we made last year with Howard's keynote.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, guys. So we're going to take the tech summit and your current product aside right now, set those aside. And we're going to go to the final kind of rapid fire for us here as a group. And we're going to talk 3 to 5 years over the horizon. Now, at the tech summit, we see a lot of innovation in our pitch battle. We get to see a lot of innovation and companies like, if you look at our attendee list too, there's companies I've never even heard of that are coming and they're going to be showcasing stuff. It's really cool to see. And I see a lot of tech. So I'm excited to see what's on the horizon, but I want to hear what you guys think of what you're most excited to see 3 to 5 years down the road, maybe who you want to meet, tech you want to see, or where you think your tech might also be going to where the industry needs it. So let's go, Zane. Why don't you kick us off with this one and think 3 years over the horizon?
Yeah, I think 3 years over the horizon, it's going to come down to 2 things, and one of them is what you just mentioned in efficiency. It's finding efficiencies in things that have traditionally been done by a human being, and doing that at scale and oftentimes better. So think about, and we've been talking about this for years, think about the absolutely rich data set that every real estate brokerage has but doesn't realize.
Yeah.
And think about all the ways that data set can be monetized. That's where we're going to be 3 to 5 years from now from an efficiency perspective. And then the other thing I'll mention is the other bucket I see really exploding is personalization. Being able to cater to each individual consumer's needs, wants, and expectations at an individual scale. I'm kind of oversimplifying it here, but when you think about like when each of us log into our Netflix screen, right? Like we're seeing different suggestions, and that's based on our behavior over the past. I see no reason why the real estate search experience isn't going to be like that or even better. You log on and everything that you touch, see, and feel during your real estate journey is personalized to you, your wants, your preferences. And I think that's going to be a game changer down the road.
Nice. And Brittany, that's a nice segue into what you guys are working on too, because data personalization, the search experience, all things that are in your new product. Take us through 3 to 5 years where you think, your product even evolves.
For sure. I mean, even in the last 1 to 2 years, there's been so much innovation. So it is quite scary to think, what's it going to be like in 3 years' time? We're really excited about, like you said, and the way people will be searching. I think in 3 years' time, I think there'll be mass adoption of AI. At the moment, it's still those front runners, the innovators that are really jumping in and leaning into it. I think we're going to see people become a lot more comfortable with the fact that actually AI is really efficient. It's not going to take over your job, but it is going to make you more efficient. And you are going to be able to do so many more tasks. So I think within that, people's roles will slightly change because they've got, or they're going to have to adapt as to how they do their role because they've got so many more tools at hand to do those processes and those admin tasks for them. So I think that's going to be really interesting. I think the 3 years, it's going to be interesting to see how people actually adapt to it because AI is not going away. It's only going to become more and more. There's going to be more competitors come on the market. There's going to be more innovation come to the market. So I think it will be a bit of a race for a lot of companies as well.
Awesome. And Steve, let's go to you because I know the personalization, even on the nurture side, these are areas that you're passionate about. Where do you see this going 3 to 5 years down the road?
Yeah, I almost wish there was like an AI for all the AI tools that are going to be there, right? Is like there's so many shiny objects and so many, phenomenal tools. It's a matter of like the overwhelm. I feel like if I'm in the other seat of what is going to drive my business forward, what is kind of the flashy object that we gotta really hone in on. And I think right now it's people are dipping their toes in the water. They know they want to adopt some sort of AI. They just don't know which ones to adopt, or they also don't know which ones are going to actually move the needle for their business versus am I a guinea pig in this equation? And I think that's great though. Those that adopt early will understand the significance of what each one of us are bringing to the table with personalization. How do you do that, whether it is at scale without diluting the various business models of the brokerages that are going to be in attendance? And how do you apply those into each individual sector there? So I think as we continue to go, the feedback loop is going to be so important. And it's kind of the big boom is already here. It's incremental, significant change that when applied correctly, can really solve a lot of the issues that the core customers are experiencing right now. So, but again, time will tell, and it's a matter of how we all adapt and adopt as we continue to move forward.
And Adam, going to you, I feel like what Steve said, the industry has got a big pile of chips, to use a gambling reference. They're ready to push them out on the table. They just don't know what to bet on right now. And your product and service is one of those that's a little less scary, right? Like hey, it's your stuff. It's your information. It's your knowledge. We're just helping you make sense of it. We're helping you extract the value and stuff like that. So as you see AI in our industry develop and the learnings that you've had in the short couple of years of being in real estate, where do you see the next generation looking at as it relates to your vision?
Yeah. I think over the last year or two, we, not Axero, but just as an industry, have thrown AI at everything because, you had to. How could you not experiment and fold AI into any product you were working on? And now we're starting to see the dust settle of, okay, there's a lot of things where it's really helpful. It's really effective. It's not that scary. We can dip our toes in and we're not turned off by what we're seeing. But there's probably a much longer list of things where it's like, I'm not sure this makes sense. I'm not sure it's there yet. I'm not sure the technology is there yet to make this effective. So I think, a couple things I hope, and I think we'll see over the next few years. One is, just that level of understanding, improving, fear starting to subside a little bit. I think people are asking smart questions about, are you training AI models on our data? Where's our data stored? Who are you sharing it with? Who are they sharing it with? Who owns this data? And those are all smart questions to ask. But as we get smarter and understand the different players and the different models and who's doing what. I hope that understanding and leads to a little bit of a lessening of fear and willingness to adopt these newer technologies. But at the same time, I know that new technologies are coming out every day, every week, especially in our AI product. Not a month goes by where we're not looking at a new model or some new piece to fold into it. And so, things are fast changing. You have to work with partners who are willing to move at the same frequency, at the same speed that you want to move. And sometimes that's slower or faster, depending on what your organization is comfortable with. But that's where I see the space heading over the next few years, I hope.
Nice. And G, I consider you and Howard major visionaries in this area. Taking your product aside for a moment, 3 to 5 years from now, take us home. Where do you see the puck going?
Well, my personal passion is is in virtual worlds, I'd say. So I'm going to be way out there and say, even with the Oculus 2, I remember sitting in a room with Gary Ashton and someone showing us the technology where you can see like 2D pixelated photos of home tours and getting really excited about that. I am one of those people that got the the Vision Pro and have used it twice. So early frontiers in that adoption. On the Ylopo and Maverick side, I really think of it this way. We surveyed our clients and said, for an average transaction, how many hours are you spending with that transaction, right? And it's about 20 to 25 hours, right? And if you piece that work out, how much of that can AI replace, right? And we think right now it's probably 5, and someday it's 15, right? And so what are the steps to getting there? There are some simple tactical stuff, like for instance, if you make a phone call to a prospect or to a consumer, you shouldn't have to take notes in your CRM anymore. That should just be auto disposition, auto recorded, etc. Right? If you go on 5 home tours in a day, you should just have an app that has GPS location on your properties and know that you went to these for sale properties, and then records those those moments in time, and it's in your CRM, right? There's all of these transaction coordination. We've really broken down the process, and so much of that is just shuffling conversations around coordination. Why can't AI voice and text be able to do all of those things, right? And so I really think that in 3 years, that the average transaction time with AI that an agent spends can be cut by 50%. And, in our age of, potential margin compression, et cetera, that's coming up, that's more important than ever, right? And I think that there's market forces that are driving this need to get to efficiency. And we're all here working together on figuring out what that actually looks like. And someone's going to figure it out, and a lot of people are probably going to figure it out.
Man, this is going to be an awesome event, and thank you all for being a part of it. We'll see you in New Orleans.